What's up, everybody? It's your boy TGK here with another video. We're going to react to Nonstop's video titled How Dirk and the Mavericks Did the Impossible. You already know, I've been reviewing others' videos, but today I want to do something different. I want to go take a little blast to the past and go down memory lane a little bit and kind of reminisce and see what kind of video they come up with. I always enjoy seeing, you know, the championship videos, so I want to see what they end up doing. Again, if you don't know who I am, my name is TGK. I host a Mavs pre- and post-game show, while also hosting a Midnight Madness podcast with my co-host Sticks. Again, consider subscribing to the channel, becoming a member, and even liking the video. Appreciate you being here. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's start reacting to this video by Nonstop. Let's go. There we go.
By the start of the 2011 season, Dirk was getting old, Jason Terry was even older, and Jason Kidd was ancient. Before 2011, nobody...
Damn. Then you. All right, that was kind of mean. That was kind of mean. Jason, come on now. Calling Jason Kidd ancient was wild. I mean, considering that we did trade Devin Harris for Jason Kidd at the time, we were trading youth for, you know, for wisdom and experience, but ancient, I guess, right? I hear you out. Anyway, let's continue.
believed that the Mavs could win a championship, and many thought this would be their last hurrah. But then the Mavericks shocked the world, knocking out several heavyweights on their way to an NBA championship. The main narrative about the 2011 Mavs is that Dirk carried a bunch of bystanders to a title, and that they were a David who defeated the Goliath in the NBA Finals. But in retrospect, the 2011 Mavs were the prequel to modern basketball. They were one of the most balanced teams in this millennium, and they should have actually been the favorites against the Heat in the finals.
Oh man, don't get me started. Let me tell you a quick little story. Back in the day, what was it, 2006, when this was all going down? No, 2011. I'm sorry. So I used to hoop at this school in the neighborhood I grew up in. Play there tons of days, tons of hours. Salute to everybody that used to hoop with me back then. But I remember being back there and we were like, all right, what's your predictions? You know, who's going to win? I was like, you know, considering this and that and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to say Mavs in 6. And, you know, at the time it was like, it was our turn to get our revenge. And, you know, this is Dirk's year. We got Rick Carlisle this time. And I agree. I thought we should have been the favorites as well. But that's just me being a homer for my Dallas Mavericks. But I totally thought we were going to win this in 6. I predicted it correctly. You could ask my boy Dave. Dave was there when we talked about this. And my boy Ridge. We were all there. I might get them on the show to confirm that. But yeah. But no, that was far-fetched to say the Mavericks should have been favored. They shouldn't have not.
Before the start of the 2010-2011 NBA season, the Mavs shooting guard Jason Terry tattooed the Larry O'Brien trophy on his right bicep. Everybody thought he was crazy, and that in less than a year's time, he was going to need a painful tattoo laser removal. For one thing, the Mavs' competition in the NBA was tougher than ever. The newly assembled Miami Super Team had the best player in the league, alongside another top 5 talent and a third future Hall of Famer in his prime. The Lakers had retained all the key players from their second straight championship run, and so did the Celtics. The Spurs were still the Spurs, the Thunder were on the rise, Chicago had a great team around Derrick Rose, and so did Orlando around Dwight Howard. Apart from the competition, the Mavs were on a bad streak of playoff losses, and their days as title contenders seemed to be over. Since their loss in the 2006 finals, they had only won one playoff series in the next 4 seasons. And maybe the biggest reason why nobody believed in the Mavs was because they were the oldest team in the league.
You know what's crazy about that Jason Terry tattoo? It was ballsy at the time, but imagine getting a tattoo saying you're going to win a championship this year, and then you go and get it like, hey, you're a straight legend. And I wish that the Dallas Mavericks and Jason Terry, I don't know what happened to that relationship. I wish that relationship was mended or whatever the case may be. Because, you know, are y'all willing to say Jason Terry's jersey deserves to be retired? I think so. Well, not retired, but at least hung in the rafters in a way, or some kind of appreciation to Jason Terry. Like, we got to give the man something, you know, but then that means Clay wouldn't be able to wear 31. So I don't know. Maybe not a jersey retirement, but just like an acknowledgement of what he contributed. Because The tattoo was insane enough. His performance in the finals, some could argue should have been MVP. Some would argue, I would not. But he was just as important, especially in those, what is it, game 4 and game 5, and game 6. He was big in every single game. Every game that we won, he was big in. So salute to Jason Terry, man. Yeah, I would like to see that relationship repaired for sure.
Their only true star was 32. Jason Terry was 33. Sean Marion, who would be 33 at the end of the season, could still play good defense, but was nowhere near the athlete he was in his prime. Tyson Chandler was a comparatively spry 28-year-old, but was already playing in his 10th NBA season, and had just come off a miserable, injury-plagued season. And the 38-year-old Jason Kidd was on his last legs, leading the NBA in all-time minutes played among active players.
Yeah, He's just killing J. Kidd, man. Damn.
At that point, only 5 teams in the three-point era had won.
Hold on. Let me make this smaller. Probably I'm too big on the screen. All right, so NBA title won with 1 All-Star. Dang, only 5 players? Only 5 players, all right.
Titles with just 1 All-Star. And 2 of them, the 98 Bulls and 95 Rockets, had Scottie Pippen and Clyde Drexler as their second-best players. The Mavs didn't even have anything resembling a second star. And even by the star-by-committee method, their supporting cast didn't exactly look like championship material. Before the start of the season, Vegas picked 6 teams above the Mavs to win the championship. And if you put down $100 for Dallas to win, you'd walk home with $2,100. Still, despite being the underdog, Dallas started the season strong. After the first 29 games, they had a 24-5 record and were on pace for a 67-win season, a tie for the franchise record. The Mavs had the best record in the NBA, but then Dirk went down with a knee injury and would miss the next 9 games. Dallas couldn't compete without their best player, and they lost 7 of those 9 games, which was a true testament that they would be a lottery team without Dirk.
Hey, this video is pretty badass. They're giving you a lot of a lot of us know these details, right? But there's some cool homework here that who is it? Nonstop did. So salute to them, man. It's a pretty damn good video right now.
And to make matters worse, during
Caron Butler, man. I hated seeing that. You know what's crazy is we won this championship without Caron Butler. Caron Butler was massive for us, and so to see him go down, after Dirk, if you would have asked any Mavs fan, hey, y'all still think y'all going to win the championship? Hell no, no one thought that. No one. Absolutely no one thought that.
During that span, they also lost Caron Butler, who tore the tendon that connected his knee to his shin bone and was done for the season. Without their second leading scorer, even the Mavs' biggest supporters didn't believe they would be good enough for a title fight.
See? I'm not lying, man. I'm not lying. Even the biggest supporters, we didn't think we were going to win a championship. We didn't. Actually, it's a great title. How Dirk and the Mavericks did the impossible. It was literally the impossible. Let's continue.
But then, a complete resurgence. When Dirk returned, the Mavs went on a 10-game win streak and won 19 of their next 21 games. They finished the season with a 57-25 record.
We also ended 2 separate, or 3 separate 10-game win streaks. I think we ended the Heat's, and I forgot what other team's win streak we ended. We were pretty nice that year.
Which was great, but not impressive. And although they surpassed the preseason over-under line by 7.5 wins, they were only the 5th best team in the regular season. The team had the 8th best offense and the 7th best defense in the league, which was the profile of a solid playoff team, but not...
Hey, you'll take 8th and 7th. Come on now. Yes, you will. 1,000%.
Exactly a championship contender, and certainly not the kind of team capable of winning it all. When the playoffs arrived, many analysts expected the Mavs to lose in the first round to the Trailblazers.
Questions about the Dallas Mavericks. Are they too old? Are they tough enough? Will they have another early season bow out in the playoffs? Does Dirk Nowitzki get enough support from a consistent second scorer?
A talent.
Damn. Doris Burke was on that BS back then. Nah, it was valid. All of that was valid back in the day. It really was. Maybe he's about to talk about the loss that happened in Portland. That, oh my God, I was at a establishment that day, and I'll let him get to that part, and then I'll share my story.
Talented young team that made a splash midseason trade for Gerald Wallace. And when Brandon Roy scored 18 points in the fourth quarter to spark a 23-point comeback in Game 4 that evened the first-round series to 2 games apiece, it looked like the Mavs were on the brink of another playoff disappointment.
Boy, were we ever. That loss by itself to the Blazers in that fourth quarter, man, I went to an establishment. I was watching the game. You know, it was like a early afternoon game, and to lose like that, I was so disappointed. I was like, damn, that's it. Another early exit for us. You know, and thankfully the Mavericks responded. Thankfully, Jason Kidd responded big time in what was it? Game 5, I believe. Again, the old Mavericks, right? Every single year leading up to that point, it was all disappointment, first round exits, this and that. And it definitely felt like, oh, here it goes again. And then Game 5 came around.
Somebody's got to pinch me. I must be dreaming.
But then, the Mavs started doing what they did all regular season. They were easily the league's most clutch team that year. And instead of falling back to mediocrity in the playoffs, they kept pulling out close wins, each one more extraordinary and improbable than the last. The more that was at stake, the better Dallas played in crunch time. With Nowitzki dominating on offense and Tyson Chandler holding down the defense, the Mavs won the next 2 games against the Trailblazers and proceeded to the second round against the defending champs. Against the Lakers in Game 1, the Mavs fell down quickly, but then erased a 16-point deficit in the third quarter. And while Kobe shot lights out and dropped 36 points, the Mavs' second unit outscored the Lakers 40-25, which proved to be a difference maker as Dallas edged out the Lakers 96-94.
And that's it. The Dallas Mavericks have defeated the Los Angeles Lakers in Game 1.
In Game 2,
that Game 1 was so unexpected. It really was. Like, as a Mavs fan, we were like, man, hopefully we could split one of the two, right? Like, that's what you were hoping for. And when we got Game 1, I remember talking to the homies. I was like, we could get Game 2, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like, here's the thing about being a Mavs fan. Like, you get so hype off of a win that you just think we're never gonna lose again. And boy, did we ever. The first time we played Kobe in the playoffs, and we sweep them boys like that. That was crazy. And Phil Jackson, we retired Phil Jackson. Like, what an incredible run. But at this time when we were up 1-0, I was just like, oh, okay, we got one. Can we get another road win? And here we go.
The Mavs pulled away in the second half, taking a 2-0 lead back to Dallas. And after trailing for most of the second half in Game 3, they finished the game on a 17-5 run to secure the win.
Yep.
And after Kobe played great in Game 1, Kidd, Chandler, and Sean Marion all played excellent defense to shut down the Black Mamba, who posted 23, 17, and 17 points in the next.
Woo! You know what's funny is I never think of like what Kobe did in those games, but that's absolutely insane that we were able to play that great of a defense against one of the greatest of all time, right? Damn. That kind of goes under the rug, or like, you know, not mentioned enough as far as like what we were able to do against the star players of all these teams. And obviously you saw what we did with LeBron. This is actually pretty impressive. Game 3 and Game 4, we held them to 17. That is insane, actually.
Next 3 games. So without Kobe firing on all cylinders, the Lakers just collapsed. And against all odds, the Mavs swept the series, hitting 46% of their shots from deep. But then, another opponent awaited, who on paper looked to be much better than Dallas. It was the OKC Thunder with Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Serge Ibaka, and led by a superstar unicorn in Kevin Durant, who was basically Dirk 2.0. And then, against the younger and much more athletic version of himself, Nowitzki turned in perhaps his best playoff game ever in the first game of the series. Dirk scored 48 points on 12 of 15 shooting and a historic 24 of 24 from the line, which was a playoff record for most free throws without a miss.
You know, the thing about Dirk in these playoffs is he attacked the basket, bro. He attacked the basket relentlessly. And that's why he ended up getting so many free throws, because he just attacked and attacked and attacked. He was on a mission to get close to the basket and get shots up, right? Get close to the basket buckets. And yeah, they just they played with an intentional mindset of just getting to like every single game. And I know we played amazing from 3 against the Lakers, but they always attacked. They played inside out. It was just a wonderful style of offense that they played. But Dirk was just on another one during this playoff series. And again, it shows, man. It shows.
After losing Game 2 at home, the Mavs led from start to finish in Game 3 in OKC. In Game 4, it was the Thunder's turn to win, until Dallas erased a 15-point deficit with 5 minutes left in regulation to force overtime.
J. Kidd.
Let's go! Come on, Spirit!
In OT, Nowitzki outscored the Thunder 12-2, finishing with 40 points. In that game, OKC led for 47 minutes and 15 seconds, only to end up losing. In Game 5, Dallas was again losing in the fourth quarter, and once again, they came through in the clutch, winning the series and proceeding to their second NBA Finals. The Finals was a rematch of the 2006 series between Dallas and Miami. Only this time, the Heat were not led by a young Dwayne Wade and an aging Shaquille O'Neal, but by Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh in their athletic prime.
There he goes. Oh!
This trio had dominated the East and easily knocked out the 62-win Bulls in the conference finals. The Heat were younger, faster, and more athletic, and more talented than the Mavs, who were once again the heavy underdog.
Dirk just might not pass this way again. He's at the end of his 13th season. His point guard, Jason Kidd, is 38. Sean Marion, Jason Terry are 33 years of age. Dirk doesn't have a Dwayne Wade or even a Bosh.
And
that's kind of crazy when you go back and think of it. Like, where we're talking about Luka being 25 and Kyrie being 31, 32. What is Klay? 34. And you just heard it there. Like, we had Jason Kidd as our starter at 38 years old. We had Jason Terry and Sean Marion at 33, 32, and Dirk at 32. That is kind of insane when you think of it from that perspective. Like, when you compare the age, you know, like, nowadays, if you have starters that are in their mid-30s, like, oh, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. So, really, this title is literally a perfect title, how Dirk and the Mavericks did the impossible. Like, the more you think of it, the more insane this run was. So, yeah, let's continue.
Everything started according to the Vegas odds, who picked Miami as a 3-1 favorite.
Take every possession like it's his last. Every minute, every second, every quarter like it's his last, man.
Miami won Game 1 in commanding fashion and were well on their way to a 2-0 lead in the series. In Game 2, they led by 15 points with 6 minutes to go, highlighted by a Wade three-pointer from the corner that capped off a 13-0 run.
All that showboating, man, that's what triggered them to turn it on in that fourth quarter in Game 2. I was at the watch party in the American Airlines Center, and I have a video out there that is just like, when I was recording when we were doing the comeback, and the arena was something else. I've never heard it that loud since then. I've never heard it go that insane since then. That Game 4 and Game 2 was an outer body experience, man. And the fact that we felt it in the arena and these boys were in Miami, like that just goes to show how much Dirk and the Mavericks mean to us, man. So, yeah, let's continue.
But then the Mavs did what they had been doing all year. They didn't give up in the clutch and started to slowly chip away at the lead. After some spirited team defense that put the game back within reach, Nowitzki took over. He finished the game on a personal 9-3 run, scoring the final 2 points when he made a left-handed layup in the final seconds of the game over Bosh. After the Heat won Game 3, LeBron and Wade were confident in their first title together. They were so
Yeah, when they won Game 3, I did think, like, dang, we just lost all the freaking momentum. At this time, the NBA Finals was still 2-3-2. 2 home games for the number one or the home team. So it's basically two games for the Mavericks. It was 2 games on the road, 3 home games, and then 2 games on the road at the end if we went to Game 7. Now it's a different format. Now it's 2-2-1-1-1. Back then it was 2-3-2. So if you lost any of if you split the first 2 games, you had 3 home games after that. And the Mavericks split, you know, the first 2 games on the road. So they had all the momentum to finish this team in 5, and then they lose Game 3 at home. Like, all the momentum goes right back to Miami. So I know a lot of us Mavs fans felt kind of doomed at that for sure.
So confident that they decided to mock Nowitzki before Game 4, who was battling the flu. Wade and Bron were caught on camera coughing.
What you gonna say?
Yeah, that was a low by LeBron and Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade was already hated beyond anything you can imagine in Dallas. Like, he was probably the most hated figure in Dallas. And then for LeBron to stoop that low and do what he did and try to mock Dirk Nowitzki, like, all right, cool. And Dirk, hey, he took it on chin, just ran with it. He was like, man, I'm here to win the championship. If you gotta get hyped off of that to go out there and play, then you're doing it wrong. So, Man, salute to Dirk, bro.
But this kind of disrespect only fueled the Mavericks in Game 4. Once again, the Mavs proved to be super hot in the clutch, overcoming another fourth-quarter deficit and limiting the Heat to just 14 points in the quarter, on their way to another win. But other than Nowitzki's revenge game, the most notable thing was the Mavs' defense on LeBron. The Heat's role players couldn't stretch the floor, and neither could their big three, who were not known for their long-range shooting, allowing Dallas to mix a variety of zone and zone hybrid plays. With Chandler anchoring the back line, Kidd and Marion had the freedom to play great man defense on the perimeter, while weaker defenders like Terry and Nowitzki were hidden within this defensive concept. For long stretches of the series, Dallas kept James in check by using the much smaller Kidd as his primary defender. Kidd kept digging at the ball, and LeBron was unable to attack him off the dribble, partly because Chandler was able to help off the Heat's big men and was always waiting to cut off James's driving lanes. LeBron couldn't get into any kind of rhythm in isolation and was unable or unwilling to penetrate off the dribble and was forced to rely on a shaky jump shot. James finished Game 4 with an appalling 8 points.
8 points, ladies and gentlemen. Salute to Jason Kidd, bro. I know Jason Kidd gets killed a lot for being a head coach right now. But again, Jason Kidd led us to a championship. Well, didn't lead us, but he was a big part in us winning a championship, man. Salute to Jason Kidd. Great player. Definitely a great Maverick. Hopefully he could seal the deal being a great coach as well.
A career low, and was completely passive in the fourth quarter. Then, in Game 5, it was much of the same. James was unbelievably passive in the fourth quarter, scoring just 2 points and 17 for the game, while the Mavs shooters buried the Heat, shooting a scorching hot 13 for 13 from deep. The Mavericks' backup point guard J.J. Barea was an unsolvable mystery for Miami's defense, and the speedy 5'11" Puerto Rican bobbed and weaved his way through traffic, giving them a huge boost with 17 points.
Barea, the high archer. That's a three!
Barea was massive in this series. Rick Carlisle put him in the starting lineup, and that's what literally opened everything up. It opened everything up because our offense was pretty stagnant just because of the sheer size we had. And Brea was able to run a more proper pick and roll with Dirk. Jason Kidd didn't have that mobility anymore to be able to get in there like Brea could. And Brea just kind of helped unlock our offense. And so, again, Rick Carlisle deserves a lot of credit for having such a ballsy move to start J.J. Barea in the middle of NBA Finals like that. That was up here, bro.
J.J. Barea!
However, in Game 6, LeBron played better, while Dirk struggled. Nowitzki started the game going 1 for 12 in the first half, and 4 for 21 during the first 3.5 quarters. But thanks to Jason Terry and Barea, the Mavs still held an 81-77 lead with 8 minutes left, when the German beast finally woke up. Dirk scored 10 points in the final 7 minutes, hitting 5 for 6 from the field to clinch the game and the championship for Dallas.
For the first time in franchise history, the Dallas Mavericks have won the NBA championship.
It was one of the most clutch playoff runs in history, and some of Nowitzki's postseason stats were downright comical. In the 50 minutes of clutch time during the playoffs, Dirk scored 66 points on 77% true shooting percentage, including 15 of 28 from the field and a surreal 33 of 34 from the free throw line.
Y'all hear how insane that is? Like, that would be insane in today's age, but back then, in those scenarios, in those clutch scenarios, the fact that Dirk did that back then, that's absolutely insane, bro. Insane.
The 2011 finals may be remembered as LeBron's greatest failure, but the 2011 playoffs will also be forever remembered as Dirk's masterpiece. He averaged 27.7 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 2.5 assists on 48, 46, 94 shooting splits.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Talk about efficiency. I don't want to do it, but yeah, man, talk about efficiency, bro. That is ridiculous efficiency. And because of his efficiency is what allowed the Mavericks to be able to be in every game and be able to, clutch hella wins in the playoffs. So that is insane efficiency. Jesus, man, that's crazy.
And after a good cry in the locker room, he deservedly hoisted the trophy for the finals MVP.
The MVP of this series, Dirk Nowitzki.
Hell yeah.
At the time, the Mavs title seemed like the eighth wonder of the world. But looking back 13 years later, it's clear that they should have been the title favorites from the get-go. They were a deeper team than Miami. They had better shooters and were a much more balanced team. Because other than the Big Three, who weren't yet accustomed to playing together, nobody on the Heat's roster provided a much-needed boost for them to win the championship. Mike Miller had a horrible series, averaging just 3 points, and Mike Bibby was even worse. Haslam averaged 6, and the starting center, Joel Anthony, was nothing more than just a big body, whose presence in the paint just clogged the lane and hurt the team's spacing. Anthony averaged just 1.3 points and 3.5 rebounds in 20 minutes per game, which is catastrophic for a starting center. Mario Chalmers had an okay series, but nothing more than that. So when you combine a lack of bench production with the worst series of LeBron's life, you can't expect to win a championship. LeBron was just the 5th best scorer in the finals, with 17.8 points per game, and Dallas's coaches did a phenomenal job of keeping him in check. I wasn't that good of a player in that series. Carlisle and Dwayne Casey drew up a game plan against me to take away the things that I was very good at and try to make me do things that I wasn't very good at. And while Dallas might have been old, they had all the ingredients for a deep playoff run. A dominant scorer whose one-legged fadeaway was the most unstoppable weapon in basketball, a great defensive center who would win the Defensive Player of the Year in the following season, one of the greatest point guards of all time, and great wing defenders in Marion and Stevenson. Add in some great shooting from Terry, Barea, and Stojakovic, the Mavs team shot nearly 40% from 3 in the playoffs and had more weapons than anybody. 13 years later, the legacy of the 2011 Mavericks is still that of a one-star wonder, with many people believing that Dirk dragged a mediocre team to a title. But the truth is that they swept Kobe, nearly swept KD, Russ, and Harden, and then they completely embarrassed LeBron in the finals. The makeup of their team was ahead of its time. A great balance of defense and shooting, which we now know is a premium and the only way you can win. After the championship, the Mavs disintegrated, and Dirk never won a playoff series again. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because he and Dallas will always have that glorious 2011 season forever etched in NBA history. Thanks for watching. And for more NBA content, click on the next.
That was badass. That was badass, man. Again, that is done by what is it? HoopNet or Stop whatever. Hold on, let me. Nonstop. That is by Nonstop, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch that video in the description below. Again, it just goes to show how great that 2011 team was, bro. I mean, there's so many. I would put it like stories, videos, behind the scenes, documentaries of that run. But that run was truly incredibly special. And for those Mavs fans like myself that got to experience that, that's a lot of us Dallas fans, that's like our first championship that we've ever celebrated. And so that championship in itself means so much to a lot of us fans. As you can see, it's a Rangers hat, but it got the Mavericks logo. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Let me know what y'all thought about that, man. I think there's some other things that it didn't capture and encapsulate of that championship, but as far as like something like a summary of the championship, I thought it was pretty good. But also, it goes to show that we should have never split that damn team up. That is where Mark Cuban started to ruin his reputation in Dallas by letting that team not get a second chance to go get another one. And in 2012, hey, it could have been a rematch against the Heat, you know? But yeah, man. Appreciate y'all being here, man. Make sure y'all leave a like on the video. Consider subscribing. Consider being a member. Y'all catch me on the next Mavs pregame show whenever the next Mavericks game comes around. Anyway, man, appreciate your boy. What the hell am I saying? Appreciate you. It's been your boy, TGK. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.